Today we're talking about gaining weight. If you want to throw 90 miles an hour and beyond, you need to be able to gain weight. But here's the thing, I'm not going to give you the generic advice of count your calories, eat more, lift heavy, because that's just not what you need. What you need is tactical, actionable steps that you can implement today in order to start gaining weight immediately. And I'm about to give that to you and more in the next 30 minutes. And not only has it helped me gain 50 pounds in 16 months, which helped me throw 96 miles an hour as an 18-year-old, it has helped countless of our athletes at the Pitch Lab gain weight to increase pitching velocity as well. Just like Kaysen, who hit his first 90 miles an hour, or Wade, who hit his first 94 miles an hour, or Toby, who got up to his first 92 miles an hour. By the way, I'm Josh Guest and I co-founded the Pitch Lab. I played 7 years of professional baseball where I got up to 98 miles an hour, and now I'm training to throw 100 miles an hour, so I think about this stuff all day. Now, if you need help with gaining pitching velocity, first link in the description, you can book a call with us and we'll see if it's the right fit for you. So I'm not gonna waste your time, let's get straight in. Okay, so the first point is that gaining weight is pure math. So what has to happen for you to gain weight is for whatever's coming in to your body has to be more than what is coming out of your body, okay? And to be more specific, this becomes calories, okay? And the out is energy expenditure, okay? Like how much you're burning. So let's just say like calories burnt, okay? Now, the normal way of doing this is, there are a bunch of people online who says, oh, you need to go on your MyFitnessPal tracker and track your calories and make sure you know exactly how many calories you're intaking, right? And then you can get some device that measures how much calories you're burning, like a Whoop or an Apple Watch or whatever. And it gets really complicated. Now, the good news is that you don't need any of that for you to gain weight. And this is exactly what I did to gain 50 pounds in 16 months. See, when I was trying to gain weight, I just didn't want to do the MyFitnessPal approach. Like, there was no way that I was in school, I was training, right? And I was also going to track my calories every single meal. Maybe I was just lazy. I don't know. But for me, it didn't work. Because for each meal, it was like, okay, 1 pound of rice. Okay, I need to go and look at it. Okay, 2 pounds of ground beef. Okay, I need to input it. And it just didn't work, right? I might have done it for like 3 days. And then after that, it just became inconsistent because I just couldn't be bothered to do it anymore. Okay, so I came up with a better method, a revolutionary method that worked even better, which is just look at your scale, okay? It's as simple as that. Now, with the scale method, all you need to do is to make sure that scale number is going up consistently. Now, why this works so well is because if it's going up, then we're gaining weight. That's good, right? And I'll get into how exactly to get that number going up, but I'm just telling you the method behind this. But if it's going down, right, now we know that the inputs and whatever's coming in is less than what's coming out. We aren't eating enough calories to match or exceed what is being burnt. And so when the weight scale is going down, we're in something called a caloric deficit, where the calories coming in is less than however much we're burning. But to gain weight, we need to be in a caloric surplus, which is the calories have to be more than what we're burning. Okay, and so if the weight scale is going down, now we know, looking at this equation, that we need to increase this. We need to increase calories, which might sound really simple, but I'm going to give you some really good steps on how to easily increase calories. And the reason why I don't like counting my calories, right, and counting however many calories I'm burning is, one, because it's difficult and I haven't seen it be very consistent. Like even at the highest levels, professional guys, like they're not tracking every single meal that they're eating. It just becomes tedious and it's very hard to find out how many calories you're burning on a day-to-day basis anyway, right? And so I'd rather just look at the outcome. Like what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to achieve the scale to go up, right? And so why not just look at that every single day rather than worrying about, the nitty-gritty of how many calories and how many calories we burnt and everything like that, okay? And so this is the strategy behind gaining weight and how I was able to gain so much weight, which is, mostly muscle, in such a short amount of time was just look at the scale, and if it's going up, if it's trending in the right direction, we know we're going in the right direction in terms of how much we're eating. But if it's going down, then we know that we need to increase what's coming in. Okay, so the next point that I want to point out is that you want to focus on calories over complexity. And what I mean by complexity is, you know what I'm talking about, the micros, the macros, how many nutrients you're getting, how many carbs you're getting, how much protein you're getting, and all of this stuff. Like, all the nutritionists out there and some coaches out there are telling you, hey, you need to get this balance right. So here's your pie chart, right? This should be your protein, this should be your carbs, this should be your veggies, this should be your fats, and this should be your fruits, and this should whatever the hell they say, right? And like, we have a nutritionist on our team, and I still don't even look at this because I don't really like that. It adds complexity, right? It's too complex, and complexity doesn't scale. When things are complex, you're gonna start to lose motivation, and it's not gonna be very consistent, because the name of the game with gaining weight is consistency. So we need something that is very easy for you to do, very repeatable for a long time horizon. You might think that 16 months is a short time frame, right? But this was every single day for a year and a half. That's still a long time frame. Most people can't even stick to a diet for 3 days. Okay, and so the only reason I was able to stick to a diet for 16 months was because it was very easy for me. It was very repeatable. And I didn't do all this complex stuff that would have made me overthink, right? And lose motivation, because I know I would have. And I did at the start. I watched the video of like, okay, now I need to get all these micros and macros. I don't even know what that means. I need to get veggies. So, okay, I need to make this complex omelet in the morning, and then I have to make this burrito at lunch. I don't know how I'm gonna do that at school. You see what I mean? It gets way too complex, and it's just like not repeatable. And that's why I wanna make it as simple as possible, and what actually worked for me and what has worked for the guys at the Pitch Lab, okay? So here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna explain all of these tactical steps through my story, because all of these things I learned personally, right? I went through it. I was that hard gainer, that skinny kid who couldn't gain any weight, right? I was 16 and I was weighing 150 pounds. That's what I remember. I'm pretty sure I was way skinnier than that, okay? But in 16 months, I was able to balloon up to 200 plus pounds. And at my heaviest, I've been up to 230 pounds. Right now, I'm about 200 pounds. So that's kind of where I live. But I'm very good at gaining weight. And so this was how it happened. I was 150 pounds and I was a hard gainer. I was really struggling to gain weight. And I thought that it was just my metabolism, right? Everyone was like, hey man, you're young, you have a high metabolism. Like, you know, you're just not really meant to gain weight. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But then I would look online and guys are gaining weight, gaining muscle, and starting to throw harder because of it, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm 16, I'm weighing 150 pounds, and I throw 78 miles an hour. I think I need to gain weight somehow. The first thing that helped me go from 150 pounds to 200 plus pounds was to think in meals and not calories. And I know you're thinking, hey, you just talked about you need to increase calories to gain weight. Why are we gonna get away from that? Why are we not gonna think about calories? Well, here's why. So why I like to think about meals, not calories, is because when I was younger, right, I had some go-to meals that I would always eat and that I would like to eat. And this is similar for most people out there. It's like they have a bunch of go-to meals, right? You should look at your diet and be like, okay, what are my go-to meals? And you'll find that there's only like, 3 to 5 meals that you consistently go back to, right? And so what made this so much easier was if I counted the calories in that meal, right? And I got a general idea of how many calories are in that meal, then I knew that that was how much calories I was intaking. For example, for me, my go-to meal would be like a rice and steak, okay? And I knew that that plate, right, that normal plate had around 1,000 calories. And so if I ate that, then I knew I would intake 1,000 calories, okay? But I didn't think about it in 1,000 calories. I'm like, okay, so I have this rice and steak bowl. Okay, all I need to do is eat 3 of those a day, and I'll be, at my calorie goal easily, okay? And so when I started to think about it in meals, not, oh, how many calories do I need to get? I need to get 4,000, so let's measure how many calories are in this bowl, and then let's measure how many calories are in this protein shake. It gets confusing, okay? Think about it in meals, not calories. And so for me, this is what I did. For breakfast, I would have a protein shake. This was a meal. I knew exactly what I was gonna put in, and this was a mass gainer shake. It had like 1,500 calories right off the bat. And I would chug it before I went to school. Yep, I thought I was gonna throw up every morning. I had to walk to the bus stop, right? I had to walk there, and that walk was painful. I clearly remember this. I thought I was gonna throw up every day. But it made a huge difference because it was 1,500 calories right off the bat, right? And I knew exactly what to put in, so I didn't have to think about how many calories or anything like that. I just thought about it in a meal. Okay, protein shake, bang, got it done. Now, when I get to school, we have a snack time. And so I ate like 2 peanut butter sandwiches, okay? Those usually had 400 to 500 calories each. And so I'd get 2 of those. Now, I would have lunch, which was more of like a rice and meat, okay, which was like 1,000 calories. And then after school, I would have a couple more peanut butter sandwiches, 400 to 500 each, and then a big dinner, which was like 1,000 calories, and then, you know, some snacks after that. And so what made it so easily was, if I thought about it, it's like, okay, if I eat my normal breakfast, lunch, dinner, my 2 snacks, then I'm good. Then I know I accomplished what I needed to accomplish to gain weight for that day, and I know I made progress. Okay, I wasn't thinking about calories at that point. It was like, if I eat these 5 things, then I know I will progress. Okay, and so that's number 1. That's what made it extremely, extremely easy for me. Now, the second one, I already touched on it, was a protein shake. Okay, now this, you kind of have to go crazy with it. I don't want to see any protein shakes where you have milk and then you have a couple scoops of protein powder and you call it a protein shake. No. What I did, and what I recommend a lot of our athletes to do, right? If you're a guy who's a hard gainer, right, and can't gain any weight, then you need to pound calories. And so this protein shake has to have a bunch of calorically dense foods into it. Okay, and so you have your shake. What do you want to put into it? So firstly, you want to put a lot of milk, right? Like ideally high protein milk. That would be the most ideal thing because you're getting protein as well. And I'll touch on that in a second. And then, you know, add some protein powder, right? That would be good because a lot of the time they are rich in protein and they have a lot of calories as well. Now, from here, what I would do is Google what are the most calorically dense foods that I can put into a shake. ChatGPT it. And it's going to give you a bunch of things on a list. Put every single one of them in there. Just put it all in there. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. And for context, right, this is what I put in. One of the biggest things that I saw were calorically dense was olive oil. Yep, it's disgusting, but it's easy, right? I even took shots of olive oil at one point. I wouldn't recommend it, right? But I would like take a shot of olive oil or I'll mix it in my orange juice and I'll just chug it. And it was an easy way to get a bunch of calories in. Okay. On top of that, like I would use like coconut oil, which was a little bit better tasting, but still, you know, very calorically dense. I would put raw eggs in there. I would put fruit, right? Banana. I would put a bunch of peanut butter, right? Inside. That's kind of all I can remember, but I put a bunch of stuff in this shake and I would chug it, right? And this was 1,500 calories. Right off the bat. That made it so much easier because now all I needed to get in was another 2,500 to hit my 4,000 calorie goal, which was a lot easier than if I didn't eat breakfast and now it's like, okay, I need to get 4,000 calories in with food. I mean, that's tough. If you're a hard gainer, you can relate. Eating 4,000 plus calories worth of food is brutal. But if you can knock out 1,500 by doing this, then it makes it a lot easier. All right, so the third point is to have a repeatable meal. And I've already touched on this a little bit with the strategy, but for me, I had peanut butter sandwiches, like 5 to 6 of them every single day because they were so easy, right? Even if I was sleeping and then I wake up and I'm late for school and I have to get to school ASAP, I could whip up some peanut butter sandwiches, right? And take them to school and and I'll still be able to hit my calorie goals, right? One of the big things that I see hold a lot of athletes back is that they think they need to make some crazy meal to gain weight. Like all of these nutrition guides, I get it, but it feels like you need a personal chef to be able to accomplish all of them. It's like first day of the meal, high protein omelet with peppers, onions, carrots, everything, like freaking steak inside. I don't know. It has all of these things that you have to prep and cut. And bro, we don't have time for that stuff, right? Like I get it. We don't have time for that. And so what people do is they'll make it 2 days in a row, and then they're like, oh, I just don't have time for it. And then their whole diet just goes out the window. This is why you need a repeatable meal that is very easy for you to make and eat, okay? Peanut butter sandwich, again, I could just grab it out of my backpack and eat while I'm in class or anything. You know, I could just sneak eat during class. It was that easy. And this is different for everyone, right? But you need to find a meal that you know is pretty calorically dense, right? Peanut butter sandwiches just worked really, really well because this peanut butter sandwich had 500 calories because I would lather that thing with peanut butter. Like, you know, I would lather it because I knew that the peanut butter is where all the calories are. It's actually funny. In Australia, we don't have jelly. Okay, there is no such thing as peanut butter jelly sandwich. When I first came to the US, I'm like, what the hell is a peanut butter jelly sandwich? No, we call it jam over there, and we don't mix peanut butter and jam. Like it made no sense to me. But here, it's like the most common thing in the world, right? But for me, I would literally just eat peanut butter sandwiches, like no jelly in it. Sometimes I would put some like honey, right, in it to make it a little bit more moist so that it's easier to eat. But a lot of the time I just lathered it with peanut butter and I would just eat it. It was dry as hell, but I would just shove it down, right? But I mean, you know, that's what I had to do to gain weight. And so I had to do it, right? And as I started to gain weight, I was able to see a lot of results, not only on the scale, but my performance in the weight room and ball velocity as well. And that's what's really going to motivate you. As you start to gain weight, right, you're going to start to push more weight in the gym. You're going to be able to throw a little bit harder, right? All of these things are what's going to motivate you to continue to gain weight. And I'm going to touch on this in a second to make sure that a lot of this is more muscle, not fat, right? But as you start to bulk, right, and you're gaining weight, but then it's muscle and you're like, damn, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, okay, I'm getting bigger. That's what's going to motivate you, and that's just gas on the fire at that point, right? And so a lot of gaining weight is just like, there's a lot of friction to start. It's really difficult to get started, but as you get going, you're going to get motivated. It's going to become easy, right? And at one point in my career, when I was going through this journey, I wouldn't go to sleep until I hit my calorie goal. Because I was like, if I just went to sleep, then that means like I just admitted to myself that I didn't do everything that I could to become a better baseball player. I lost on that day. That's how I saw it. It was like, if I didn't get my calories in, then I lost that day. I just got worse on that day. And I never wanted to get worse, right? And so do you. You never want to get worse. And I know it. And so don't go to sleep until you hit your calorie goal. And I know I talk a lot about calorie goal. Setting a calorie goal is so easy, right? And again, I want you to think about it in meals, not calories, but it's just through the scale. However much you need to eat to get it up is however much the goal should be. Okay, so for me, it was like I told you, the protein shake, a bunch of peanut butter sandwiches. It was like 4 to 6 a day, and then lunch and dinner as a big meal. Okay, and if I hit all of those, then I knew that I hit my calorie goal or my meal goal. And so sometimes I would only eat one peanut butter sandwich, and then I would come back from school, I'll come back from training, and I'm all tired, and then I eat dinner, right? And then I'm like, okay, how much did I eat today? I was like, okay, breakfast, lunch, one peanut butter sandwich, and dinner. I'll be like, damn, I need to eat 5 more peanut butter sandwiches before I go to bed. And that was a mentality, right? And again, this might not be the most healthy thing, but it's just like what you need to do sometimes, okay? Like it's just like something that you need to do to get to where you want to go. And I was willing to do that. Sometimes I would just stay up late to eat, you know, and that's okay because you need to hit that goal every single day to be consistent. And the one thing I will tell you is that you need to be consistent every single day, not just on the weekdays, not just the weekends, right? You can't just slack on the weekends. It has to be every single day. Because once you miss one day, that turns into 2 days, which turns into 3 days, and now you're starting to lose weight rapidly. Because gaining weight is difficult, but losing weight is extremely easy. Okay, you can work hard for 2-3 months, right? But then you have one bad day and then you lose like a month's worth of progress. I'm not joking. That can happen for guys who are hard gainers. And I know you can relate. You grind for like 1 month, right? And you're like, yes, I'm up 4 pounds. You slack off for one day, you look at the weight scale and you're down 3 pounds. And you're like, bro, what the hell just happened? You know, and so that's why you need to be very, very consistent with it, right? Every single day. And the mental model that I want to give you, the mentality that I want to give you is that you have worked this hard. Don't lose that progress by missing one day, okay? You have worked so hard for months and months and months. Just one day could kill that progress. Don't let it, okay? It's like if you're doing well, right? You're doing well. If you skip one day, it's not like you just plateau. It's more like you dip a lot. And now you have to work all of that way to get back to where you were previously. Okay, so I need you to think, I need to get better every single day. I can't slack off even one day because that one day that I slack off is going to cause me to work 2 times as hard for the next 2 weeks. And we don't need that. Now, the next point I want to go into is that eating is training. For guys like us, hard gainers, right? Eating is going to be harder than your training. Eating is going to be harder than your lifts, your throws, your mobility work. Everything in the baseball stuff. Eating is going to be more difficult than that. Just because, obviously, eating is tough for us hard gainers, right? We don't really like it. I used to say that I hate eating. Now I love eating. I don't know. Maybe I just got older. But eating is very difficult, okay? So it is going to be hard for you. And that's okay. Just look at it as it's training. It's training to make yourself the best baseball player that you can be, okay? And also, eating never stops. That's the hard part about it. It's like, you got to eat until, you got to eat dinner, right? And then you go to sleep and then you wake up and boom, new day, you need to get all your eating done again. It's day after day after day. That's why it can be so difficult. But these are the things that you can do to make that easy for you and repeatable for you. Because remember, consistency is the most important thing out of everything that you can do to gain weight. All right, the last point is to eat quick. Now, science has shown that you start to feel full about 15 minutes of when food hits your mouth, okay? And so what I see a lot of athletes do is they just lollygag with their eating. They're just, eating, so slow. No wonder why you can't eat a lot, because you're taking forever to finish one plate. I mean, have some urgency there. There was actually one time where I put a timer for 15 minutes, and I was like, okay, I need to eat this before that timer goes off, or I'm not going to be able to finish it. Because as soon as that 15 minutes passes, you're going to start to feel really full. And it's going to become really difficult for you to finish that meal. Okay? And so for every meal that you're eating, eat it quick. Have some urgency. I know it's not the most healthiest thing for you to try to down food, but again, it is what it is. Like, we have to do what we have to do to gain weight. And so have some urgency when you're eating quick, and it's going to make it so much easier for you to eat a lot more. Now, the last point I want to talk about is to make sure that all of this stuff is actually leading to muscle, right? Because mass doesn't equal gas. Lean mass equals gas, right? And so we want a lot of lean mass, which is muscle, to gain pitching velocity. Now, what you want to do is very, very easy. Just be lifting the right way. Now, if you're a hard gainer, you're probably someone who's not going to put on a lot of fat anyway, right? Because even if you do all of this stuff and you shove as many calories into you as possible, if you're lifting the right way, a lot of it is going to become muscle. And trust me on this. Don't be scared of, I don't want to get fat. Bro, you're not going to get fat. You can't even gain a pound a month right now, right? And so gaining 5 pounds a month isn't going to make you look fat, right? You're just going to look less skinny, okay? And so make sure you're lifting the right way, right? No matter what phase you're in. For this phase, I would recommend more of a strength accumulation phase where it's more strength building. That way you're actually breaking down the muscles. You can rebuild those muscles with all of this nutrition and build bigger muscles, bigger, stronger muscles, right? I wouldn't do too much more of the rate of force development or impulse type training because that's not as strenuous on the muscles, right? And it's not going to create as many like micro tears where we can rebuild and build stronger, bigger muscle, okay? And so that's what I would say on that. But to wrap this all up, what should you take away from this video and what are the actionable steps you can implement tomorrow to start gaining weight instantly? Well, this is what I'll do. So do the protein shake in the morning, okay? The morning protein shake, right? Next, have 2 of your repeatable meals for a snack, okay? And this is whatever you find that is pretty rich in calories. For me, it was peanut butter sandwiches. For you, it might be, I don't know, whatever is easy for you to make, right? And that you enjoy eating. That is one thing that I forgot to mention is make sure all of this stuff is something that you enjoy eating, at least at the start. You know, when you're eating it every single day, you might stop liking it and that's fine. But at the start, you should at least like it just a little bit, okay? So that it's easier. So I would have 2 of these. So this becomes 1,500 calories. And then this is what, 800 to 1,000? Let's just say 1,000. So for lunch, what I would do is a big carb and big protein type meal. So for me, I'm Asian. I have a lot of rice, right? With some chicken, beef, steak, whatever, right? So a lot of protein with a lot of carbs. And that's what I would base my meals around. It could be a sandwich, right? With a lot of meat in there. You do want a lot of protein inside. Okay, you don't want empty calories, you know, like a bunch of carbs. Like that's better than nothing, but we do want a lot of protein in as well. Now, I don't want to go into the ratios of everything because again, you're going to get caught up in the complexity, but I would just, a general rule, a good amount of carbs, a good amount of protein, and then veggies and whatever else you want to put into that. Okay, so that's what I would do for lunch, all right? Now this is, you know, it might be a little bit lower, 500, 800. Let's just say it's 500 to be on the safe end. Next is another snack time. So 2 of these repeatables, okay, which is another 1,000. And then 5th is dinner, which is this, right? Again, carb and protein meal. You get, let's just say you get 500. Now, when you look at this, you get 4,500 calories. And if that's not enough for you to gain weight, I mean, it's gonna be enough for you to gain weight. Like no matter who you are, if you're having 4,500 calories, and if that's not enough to gain weight, then like I'm sorry to say, you're just gonna have to add more. So you might just have to add 2 more repeatable meals, right? Which will bring it up to 5,500 calories. And that's how you keep adding, right? You can keep adding your repeatable meals so that eventually the scale is gonna continue to go up. And that's when you know you found the sweet spot to where you can repeat it day in, day out, and everything is gonna start to improve. Now, if you want my personal help to help you gain weight, first link in the description, you can book a call with me and we can talk about it. Also, I left a video down there where if you need to get to 90 plus miles an hour, then you can watch that and it shows how I've helped a bunch of guys get to 90 miles an hour and beyond. So hopefully that helped and I'll see you soon.